need it later. And that's literally the whole thing. So let's try it together.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is always great to be able to gather on Shabbat. It's even better to be able to gather with people who we care about and who care about us, and to start Shabbat by showing how much we care about the world. Not even half an hour ago, we had a social hall filled with people packing lunches for our Feed the Hungry program, and it's just the best way to start Shabbat, to bring a little bit of that lightness and a little bit of that joy and a little bit of that purpose back into our lives when sometimes the week can drag us down and slow us down. So just take in that Shabbat moment. Breathe it in. And in order to really welcome Shabbat, we get to welcome the people around us into Shabbat. So I encourage you to, if you're joining us in our physical sanctuary, to turn to someone you know or you don't know, wish them a Shabbat Shalom. If you're joining us in our digital sanctuary, I don't know which camera I should be looking up, to type them a Shabbat Shalom. And let's get this Shabbat started off right. We welcome each other into this moment and into this space, and we welcome that light, that sweetness that is Shabbat into our lives. To help us do that, we bring these symbols that is candles and Kiddush, the extra light, the extra sweetness, the extra holiness that we have access to. And we are so excited that Shelly said yes to me, and she's bringing Hershey to help us with our candles and Kiddush, page 2 or page 5 in our prayer books.
Amen. Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
It's the best vintage. Okay. When we welcome Shabbat, we create this picture in our brains. We imagine that we are in this beautiful wedding, and we invite the couple that is us, the Jewish people, and Shabbat, this moment that create a sacred covenant, create this way that we make each other better. And we call to Shabbat, Lecha Dodi, come my beloved, come, let us meet this moment, let us lift each other up. Page 20 or page 138 in the larger volumes, verses 1, 2, and 9.
Lecha Dodi ligrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi ligrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi ligrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi ligrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, L'shemo tifaret v'litila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi ligrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi ligrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri. Should I back up and do it again? Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor haberacha, Mehirosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Tohi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, Gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, Toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi ligrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Before we move on, one of my favorite fun facts about Lecha Dodi is it's actually an acrostic poem. If you look at the first letter of each verse, you'll see that it spells the name of the author. So Shin, Lamed, Mem, Hey, Shlomo. You see that? And so sometimes it's hard to not give full honor to the author and to want to do his full name. So sometimes we want to just make sure that we get all the verses in there. And sometimes we also like to just welcome Shabbat. Boi v'shalom, come in peace. Page 29 at the top. We read together in English. There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nivarech, let us bless. Together we bless and hear our call to blessing, our call to worship. Baruch Hu, page 28. Please rise as you are able. Page 31 at the top. Together we read, Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans into infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim.
Amen.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivon Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol me'otecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha v'beitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumhecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
Page 41. Generations to come. This is a song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content. Her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. the center of our service, we find ourselves about to enter something called Ha-Tfilah, or Ha-Amidah, the prayer or the standing. And in this section of our service, we find the most variability between services, whether it's morning or evening, weekday or Shabbat or holidays, wherever we find ourselves in the moment or in the year. And in it, we find ourselves trying to find ourselves. What is it that we are experiencing as we step into the prayer, the thing that calls us to rise and to stand? And as we are about to enter this, we say, God, open my lips so that my mouth can declare praise. And as we step into this moment, as we find the things that lift us up and the things that call us to rise up even higher, I invite you to think about, what is it that you are rising for? What is this moment that you find yourself in that you most need to say a prayer for? What is it that calls to your highest self and keeps you standing? As we step into this section, we ask, may our mouths only find praise, and may we find that praise with each other. Page 46 or 164, please rise as you are able.
Adonai Satai Tiftach, Adonai Satai Tiftach, Ufi Hakim Tilatach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Michayei hakol atarav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umikayem emunato lishenei afar, Mi chamocha ba'al gevurot, umidomelach, melech memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol.
Please be seated. When Cantor and I say who's teaching, turns out we both like teaching, and so I was ready to step away. No, we're great. We're great. I mean, it's always so nice to have new partners, to be able to hear new voices, and it maybe takes a little bit of figuring out if we're speaking the same language. Who's teaching? We're both teaching. It's all good. And I'm sure it will come as no surprise to anyone that I like to listen to a lot of podcasts. I like to find all sorts of fun and interesting facts, to hear things that maybe I wouldn't have been thinking about before. And my drives to and from temple they're the perfect podcast length. They're almost exactly 30 minutes, and it gives me a good chance to listen to maybe Freakonomics or Hidden Brain. Sometimes I listen to Hadar's new podcast. They have this great one that complements a newsletter that they publish every week called Dvash, and it's a little bit of Torah commentary. I have a very wide variety of podcasts. But this week I was listening to a podcast that came out of the Jewish Theological Seminary, JTS, out of New York. And it was a commentary on the portion this week. We have a double portion, matot maseh, and it can be really easy to find it a really boring portion because it spends a good chunk of it just kind of detailing every stop the Israelites made on their journey. Now, they were traveling for 40 years. That's a lot of stops that they made. And really, it just gives a list. They went to place A, place B, place C. They went back to place A, then they tried over at D, and it gets a little tedious. But this wonderful podcast was able to look at it as not just a list of places, but almost more like a mantra. If you are finding yourself recalling all the places that you've been, you're probably finding yourself recalling everything that happened in those places, whether the list includes them or not. And it was a wonderful coincidence that at the same time that I was listening to it, my Google Maps popped up with a notification. Where have you been this month? It's like it knew what I was listening to and wanted to also create its own list. I went to Northbrook and to Evanston, to Northfield, to Oconomowoc. I went to all of these places, and at first, all it does is show you a list. This is where you've been. This is how many miles you traveled. If you were walking, this is how fast you went. If you were driving, this is how fast you were driving. It gives you some of those, what could otherwise be boring details. But also, if you start looking into each of the locations that it details, it starts to show you pictures and people that you were with, places that you ate, right? It gives you a list of not just where you've been, but what you were doing when you were in those spaces. And every month when I get that reminder, it's just a beautiful way of saying, this hasn't just been an ordinary month. It hasn't just been something where, I went to work and I went back and I answered emails and I walked the dog and I did all the things that I had to do. But it gives me a chance to think about all the places that I got to go, all the things that I got to do, all the people that I got to be with. It gives me a chance to reframe what could be a very simple and very boring list. These are all the opportunities I had, rather than all the places that are just in bullet points. And that process, getting that notification, has become something that I don't remember from month to month, but every time it pops up, gives me a chance of noticing the journey that I'm on. This is what I've learned. This is how I've challenged myself. If I didn't have a reminder of the progress that I'm making, I might not ever see the progress that I'm making. And I find that such an important reminder every month. I'm sure that was never part of Google Maps' goals or mission. But to give me a chance to really see who I am today, who I was a month ago, and what it took to get to that place. I imagine the same is true for those authors of the Torah who are writing all of these locations that they stopped at. It's not just a list. It's a chance for us to see the journey, the actual journey, but also the metaphoric journey. The Israelites are not the same people that they were when they started on the journey. They're not the people who were enslaved and don't know how to handle freedom. They're not the people who always and only did whatever they were told for threat of their life. They're now people who get to experience the world, who get to enter by their choice into covenant, who get to find themselves in the wilderness and also find themselves journeying out of the wilderness, discovering their own path that they might have never thought possible if they hadn't even started the journey. It's important to have those reminders. It's important to have those signposts along the way saying, take a moment, notice where you are, not just how far you've traveled, not just how far you still have yet to go, but notice where you are right here. Notice where you are right now. Who are you? What brought you here? What gave you the strength to come here? What challenges have you overcome in order to be here? Who inspired you? Who motivated you? Who led you? What is it that brought you to this moment? We're all going on our own journeys. And as I said, our liturgy is supposed to help us find our way step by step. Help us find ourselves. Who are we? What is the prayer that we need to say? What is the moment that we need to celebrate? What is the moment that we need to mourn? How do we lift up this moment so it lifts us up? Just as much as Google Maps might be a boring list, or the Torah might be a boring list, or even just looking at the prayers along the side of the page might just be a list that helps you know how far you still have to go in the service so you don't have to start counting pages. It's meant to help us notice where we are and who we are and what we bring with us. As we pause in the center of our worship, we come to a prayer that tells us, Modim anachnu lach. We are grateful to be here. We're grateful to be surrounded by these people. We're grateful to find ourselves in between our ancestors and peace. We're grateful to lift up our gratitude. And if you look, page 58, it gives us a way to acknowledge the moment. It gives us a way to acknowledge ourselves. And I want to take a moment for us to think about, what is it that brought us here? What are the blessings that we're grateful for? Who are the people that we're grateful for? What are the small victories that otherwise would have gone unnoticed unless you say them here and now? What are you called to say todah? Thank you. Maybe in there you can also hear that same root, todah modim. We are grateful, and we're grateful because we get to share those moments of gratitude together. Cantor's almost started to introduce us. She introduced us with a nigun, and now we're going to get to put words to this gratitude. But I want you to be thinking about, what is this moment of gratitude? What's the moment that you are so excited to be able to share with each other? Because we'll have moments not just to say, Modim anachnu, we are thankful, but moda ani, I am grateful. And I'm grateful that I get to share that gratitude with you. Think of that moment.
So as Rabbi mentioned, we've already heard this tune, and we only need 3 words to sing it, Modim anachnu lach. So we'll go over it. We'll make sure everyone knows it really well so we can raise our voices in gratitude together. the text, Modim anachnu lach. 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 Modim anachnu lach.
So we've had a chance to learn the music, to put our words to the music. What is the moment that you are grateful for, that you would like to share with all of us? Is there something that you'd like to lift up for all of us? Not a rhetorical question. Sybil. Grateful that we're still alive, that we're still here. Wonderful. I am also grateful. Other things, Leslie? Grandson going to Northern Illinois baseball. Mazel tov. Vicky. So grateful that no matter how gloomy it is inside, your green thumb is working outside and no critters are eating your tomatoes. And everyone gets to be sustained by your tomatoes. There you go. Cool. Nice. And some natural protection for your plants and your vegetables. Modim, we are grateful. Other things that we might be grateful for? Hershey. Nice. Seeing kindness and happiness around us. Modim anachnu lach. Grateful for Temple Jeremiah. I will give you your high five later for putting that nice little siyum, that nice little conclusion on our Modim anachnu lach. We are grateful together.
Modim anachnu lach. 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 Modim anachnu lach.
Modim anachnu lach. We are indeed grateful. We take these next few moments to say the prayers of our hearts, from our hearts, straight to God's heart, in this moment of silent reflection.
Make of us a house for all people. Gather us in hope for all people. Surround us in peace for all people, in wholeness and in love. Page 60 in your prayer books. Page 60, Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Me'olam. 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 Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Me'olam. 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 B'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. B'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Me'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Me'olam. Tasim Me'olam. Tasim Me'olam. Make of us a house for all people. Gather us in hope for all people. Surround us in peace for all people, in wholeness and in love.
Our prayer for peace asks for peace for all people, peace for the people that we hold close, the people who are a part of our communities near and far. We are called to ask for peace for all for whom it is painfully lacking. And so we're also called to think of our Jewish brothers and sisters, our Jewish homeland in the state of Israel, to ask a prayer for the state. Page 259. Sha'alu Shalom Yerushalayim. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. At the bottom of the page, we read together in English. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. As we find those blessings, those prayers in each of us, we think of those who could use a little extra blessing, a little extra prayer for themselves, whether it's a prayer of body, of spirit, or of soul. And so I invite you, if you are thinking of and you're joining us in our digital sanctuary, if you'd like to write the name of someone for whom you'd like to share a blessing, and if you're here in our physical sanctuary, to rise and to say their name aloud. Judy? Thank you. 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 And as a community, we're also thinking of Gil Edelstein, Alan Terry Burke, Dee Bittman, Reese Chan, Ron Cohen, Sarara Kova, Arlene Drucker, Lila and Aaron Eckel, Jacob Ellis, Arnie Fishbane, Lee Huber, Alan Jacobs, Jim Clapman, Mark Pierce, Ronald Rubin, Lee Saldinger, Jocelyn Snower, Patricia Weinfuss, Mark Weiss, and George Wittenberg. Our Misha Berach prayer can be found on page 253 in the middle of the page. Our tradition teaches Aleinu l'shabeach. It is on each of us, each of our responsibility, each of our privilege to find these moments of blessing, moments of gratitude, even moments of sadness that brought us into this moment. It's upon each of us, it is each of our privilege to be able to walk along that journey, to find our moments of praise, and to notice that each of those steps can be an act of praise on its own. Aleinu l'shabeach, it is upon and for each of us. Page 282 at the bottom. Please rise as you are able.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula l'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor alinu
At this moment in our service, we think of those who are no longer physically present in our everyday lives, but for whom we spend our lives walking in their legacy and completing a journey that they might not have been able to complete. We find ourselves either in moments of Shiva or Shloshim, marking yahrzeits, or perhaps a name or a memory just happens to be called to mind at this moment. If you're joining us in our digital sanctuary, I invite you to write the name of the person for whom you are thinking in the comments section. And as a community, we mark the recent passings of Florence Birnbaum, Bill Brown, and Beth Weiner, and the passing just this week of Michael Berman, father of Carrie Winkler, father-in-law of Aaron, and grandfather of Lindy and Levi. This week also marks the yahrzeits of Arthur Beckman, Frank Bockenheimer, Sandra Ball, Richard C. Behel, Alice Blum, Jacob Castle, Seymour Klemensky, Michael Cohen, Dora Cohen, Vera Cooper, Marshall Dickstein, Eleanor Dolan, Fanny Fine, Miriam First, Edith Fleischer, Miriam Fried, Bela Gershwitz, Lou Gilbert, Trudy Goldberg, Melvin Golden, Nettie Goldstein, Sylvia Grossman, Paula Hiltzik, Lester Hoffman, Claire Horowitz, Frank Eisenberg, Betty Jepson, Dennis Kagan, Gloria Kaplan, Adam Kaufman, Jody McNally, Michael Millman, Gladys Passes, Rowan Phillips, Rose Rifkind, Sam Rothbart, Arthur J. Sabin, Rose Saldinger, Ann Sandler, Fanny Sauer, William Seidenbach, Stephen G. Silverman, Gus Sparrow, Mayor Stein, Pearl Stern, Charles Strasberg, Herta Strasberg, Dora Waldman, Sophia Wenner, and Tori Reese Walensky. I invite anyone who's joining us here in our physical sanctuary, if there's someone whom you are thinking of, to rise and to say their name. Joni Siegel. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And together as one family, we turn to page 294 for our Kadisha Tome, our Mourner's Kaddish. Please rise as you are able. Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach cheruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayed kol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya, yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shmei d'kudsha brechu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom, alinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimeru, amen.
Zichronam livracha, may their memories always and forever be a blessing. And together we say, amen. Please be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm Babette Sanders, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors here at Temple Jeremiah. Thank you, Rabbi, wherever you went, and Cantor, for just a beautiful service, small, as intimate as we are here tonight. It was as beautiful as we've had, so thank you so much. To Carrie Winkler and her family, we are thinking about you as you mourn your father's death. Just in case you need a good reason, just a few highlights of coming up of our activities, in case you need a good reason to go to Portillo's. To me, there's always a good reason to go to, but just in case you want a really good reason to go to Portillo's on Lake Cook Road, August 12th from 5 until 8. There'll be a gathering of Temple Jeremiah people, and 20% of your purchase that night will come back towards the temple. So you'd be having fun at Portillo's and doing a mitzvah at the same time. Lake Cook Road. Okay? So that's your mitzvah. On Friday, August 16th, here after services, there will be a barbecue. It is our welcome back to Temple Jeremiah after the summer, or welcome to Temple Jeremiah if it's one of your first times being here. It's always a fun evening, and we're hoping for beautiful weather to enjoy. And the following night, one of my Jews in Canoes. So you can imagine what that is. Join a group of people at Skokie Lagoons on Tower Road and rent canoes and kayaks and other assorted things, and bring a dinner to picnic after, if you'd like. And again, it's another way for you to get to know people from Temple Jeremiah. If you're watching or you're here tonight, and if you're not yet a member and you're looking for a Jewish home, we hope you find it here. Please talk to me afterwards. I'd be happy to share some of my thoughts about being involved with Temple Jeremiah. And I think that's it. So Shabbat Shalom. Please look at your Thursday email for all the details on all the upcoming activities. So.
And it almost feels like it should be a Rosh Chodesh kind of blessing, a blessing of the new month, because as we are in the very first Shabbat of August, it's the return of ice cream month. You can't have August without ice cream. So for every Shabbat of August, we will have an ice cream cooler filled to the brim, and we ask you to help us make it not so filled. Otherwise, we eat it during the week, and that's just a lot of ice cream. So every Shabbat is a different kind of ice cream. Come discover. We will conclude our service with Hine Matov. I think it's on page
10.
5. Page 10? No way. That's my favorite. Page 10, at the very top, please rise for our closing song and blessing. Okay, great.
Sorry, we'll try that again. I am on.
Sorry, is that my fault?
No, I don't know. Isaac,
No,
can
now
we
I
hear
hear
me?
you.
Okay, now we can
good.
hear me. We'll start it over.
Shevet Ahim Gam Hinei ma tov u'ma how wonderful, how good, how beautiful it is that we are able to gather together, to go on this journey together, to find the things that lift us up, that give us the strength to take the next step in the journey. How wonderful, how beautiful, how peaceful it is that we are able to step into Shabbat like this together. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.